Hi, welcome to Frequency Bone Summer Music Connection 5, Session 4, Part 3. I wanted to have a follow-up session on middle school and high school years. And we were starting to talk about more in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in the last video about preparing for college if someone is more serious about pursuing their instrument, and brass or trombone, for a career. Well, what is required of someone auditioning at the conservatory level? What is required of someone auditioning for some of the other colleges? Well, the conservatory type school, which could be many, as we know, many great universities have conservatory style level, without a doubt. What is required of a freshman? Many times, the colleges will post what they want to hear for the audition, so you have an idea. What someone could ask, should I be able to do by then? Should I be able to hit a high F like they have in Beethoven's Fifth when I'm in high school? Should I be able to be terrific playing all the trigger notes too? Do I need to play the Arbenz Carnival of Venice as fast as a trumpet can to get into a conservatory? Do I have to play, what do I have to be able to do? What I would say to that is to play as well as you can at the level that you're at. That's number one. I know many of my high school students, when they were auditioning for schools, some were playing the David, some were playing the Grundle, some were playing the Larson, some were playing Hindemith, okay? Some were playing some of the Vivaldi or Marcello sonatas. And then they'd play the three famous excerpts: Mozart Requiem, Tuba Mirum, Bolero, Ravel, and Berlioz' Hungarian March. Now the question comes in, doesn't it? What if I can't play Bolero yet in high school? Does that mean anything? Yes, it does. It means you can't play Bolero yet in high school. Standards. I mean, when I was in high school, I was doing things that most high school students weren't. I think there's a few people, it's still not that common for people to be playing the Albertsberger and the Creston in high school, but it happens more frequently now. And I was. I could play most of the well-known excerpts. I mean, a lot of excerpts. I knew a lot of excerpts, even more obscure excerpts. So I could play Bolero, I could play Zarathustra, Mahler Third, Schumann Third, Schubert Nine, Symphonie Fantastique, Till Eulenspiegel, Hungarian March, all these things. I think if someone, William Tell, for example, I think if someone, for example, let's say you want to show off something in the high range, but you can't play Bolero. Well, play Brahms first. For example, play some of Symphonic Metamorphosis. Get some high B flats in there. Stravinsky, Petrushka. Maybe you can just go to a high C. Well, there's a good high C in there. Mozart Requiem, yes. Scheherazade, that's a nice second trombone solo. Okay. Russian Easter Overture shows off some lyricism. Schubert 9 might be a great one for people to get into. Such a terrific piece. So pick the orchestral repertoire that you can actually play well, that you actually have a chance at doing well. Okay? If it's not bolero and you can't play some real hot dog solo, well, play one that you can play. Okay? Whether it's Vivaldi or Marcello. Maybe it's a beautiful Blazevich etude. Okay? Show what you can do to the best of your musical ability, best of your instrument ability, and that'll take you much further than thinking, well, you should be doing something that you can't do. People grow at different rates. And this is very important. I knew I grew at a very fast rate because I wanted to. But not only that, I started teaching when I was 12. And I loved working with people. At that age, I loved it. And I realized at that age, with working with people, that everybody's different. There was some kid came in, within a few weeks he was hitting like a really good high E flat. He was a really talented trombone player. We're talking about Rhenish high E flat. And he was 12, and I was 12. And he was hitting it as good as I was. And he had just been playing a month. And his embouchure was actually good. He's just one of those people. Okay? Articulation was harder for him to learn. He doesn't play anymore, but he played all the way through high school. And he got involved in music in another way. So realize that people grow at different rates. One might need to develop this longer. Another person might catch on to that quicker. And when you're trying out for schools, try out for several if you can. Someone asked me the other day, I heard it's a terrible thing if you send in a tape and don't go live to an audition. Well, you know what I have to say about that? I understand what someone told them is the better thing to do. But you know what? Not everyone can afford to travel around the country auditioning for schools. Make a great video. You can. That's like a live audition. And the equipment that people can listen to now, they can tell sound. They can tell your technique, your intonation, your rhythm. You can tell a lot. I'm amazed what I can tell on Skype. So don't let the fact if you can't travel around the country get in the way of you auditioning for things. Maybe you want to go to an excellent state school where they have a really good band program and an orchestra program, and you want to pursue political science or whatever you want to pursue. Okay? Music can always be a friend and a companion and an enjoyment and an uplifting. So, how good do you need to be when you're auditioning for colleges? That depends on what you want. I think I gave a pretty good example of what someone would need. I know it's not most people that come in as a freshman, a lot of them can play bolero, or they can play up to a high C. And some people are getting very good at the trigger range. I didn't even have a trigger horn till I was already playing professionally when I came to Boston. I had my Con 8H. And then someone said, oh, you need a trigger, you need an F attachment. So I went and got a Bach. Sometimes I think, what if I had just stayed with that wonderful Con 8H? I was playing really well on it. Won a lot of auditions on it. But sometimes you do have to make a change according to times, but never compromise your music making. So, listen to recordings, many recordings, and not just trombone. Listen to the great cellists, the great violinists, the great oboists, the great singers. Any instrument can sound great. And if you're at that age in high school, you should be learning from many different types of people. I was in high school. I loved listening to Dennis Brain on horn, Sherman Walt on bassoon, Rum Paul on flute, Julius Baker on flute, Harold Gomberg on oboe, Ralph Gomberg on oboe, all these great players, Vic Firth on timpani, Charlie Schluter on trumpet, many trumpet, Maurice Andre. I listened to many, Timofey Dockschutzer. I listened to Heifetz and Oistrakh on violin, and Patagorsky and Casals and Rostropovich on cello. The list could go on. Don't limit yourself to just brass or trombone. So, maybe we've covered enough ground for high school years. You can always write me if you have any questions.